Gundogan could be on his way back to City. The stories today are suggesting that Pep is keen. He never wanted to go in the first place because he went to Barcelona. Would appear to have been a bit of a short-lived thing. Joining us now to look at some of the reasons behind it and other mayhem at Barcelona is La Liga expert, former Spurs, Wimbledon, Cov and Manchester United frontman. It is Terry Gibson. Hi, Terry.
Hello, Terry.
Good afternoon, Charlie and Paul. Yeah, how on earth can I begin to explain the carnage that is going on at Barcelona? I try.
I mean, it's just not the first time they've bought a player and registered and not been able to register them and play them because they've got too many players in the squad or they can't make the books balance. I mean, it is bonkers. It's quite laughable, really. I mean, we'll come on to Olmo and what's going on there, but I was reading a little piece. Apparently, there's a few stories suggesting that Ilkay Gundogan wasn't particularly impressed with the sort of pastoral care at the club and when his family moved to Barcelona, although they've settled now. I think they've been used to City where everything was laid on and they were looked after, and he was left to sort of slightly fend for himself. So that was a bad start. And he wants out, although I've seen some comments today that suggest that they would like him to stay. So what's the latest, Terry? Do you know?
No, I mean, it was clear at the weekend. It was a surprise when he wasn't included in a squad which is lacking a lot of players through injury anyway. When you saw the squad list, there was a lot of players there I wasn't too familiar with, even me, with watching La Liga as much as I do. And the big omission was no Ilkay Gundogan. He played every game near enough last season. I think he missed a couple of games. Was his form at the level he was at Manchester City? No, he wasn't terrible by any means. And I think there's a feeling now with the younger players coming through that maybe it's an easier option for them to release him and get him off the wage bill and then start to look at other positions. But the whole thing is a mess. I expected a lot more action from Barcelona than what we've already seen. In terms of moving players out, there were some big name players that they could move on that are not first team regulars, they're not first choice players, and certainly not under Xavi they weren't. But that hasn't happened. So they've accumulated all these players, brought in Dani Olmo, and it seems like Ilkay Gundogan is one of the highest earners, of course. He's one that they would love to move on. They'd love to move Robert Lewandowski on, but that's not going to happen. There's no chance of that happening at all. His contract is watertight. He earns such a great deal of money that no one else is going to match it. So despite the fact it's Lewandowski, Barcelona do feel that they're kind of stuck with him. But if they think there's a get-out clause with Gundogan, they're going to go into try and use it.
And I mean, they just got to free up these spaces, so Olmo can actually start playing for the team.
Yeah, it just goes to show that the lack of strategy at Barcelona, because there are positions in the squad that do need reinforcing, and the position that Dani Olmo plays isn't one of those. Yeah. So bringing him in, he's a fantastic player. We all know that. But if they're going to bring him in, they've got to sell Ferran Torres, maybe sell Rafinha. Gundogan would be another one that could play in that position. Pedri can play in that position. They were crying out for a defensive midfield player. That hasn't happened. So it's just... I think that the people that are running the club at the top, Joao Felix, the president, Deco, they like to buy strikers, attacking players, names that might excite the crowd, but don't necessarily fit in with what the manager needs. And Dani Olmo fits into that category, to be honest. He's a fantastic player, but he's not what Barcelona need. And at 60 million, they could have got Nico Williams for less than that. That's a player that you could have done with, and you thought that would make Barcelona better. But Dani Olmo they desperately wasn't needing another second striker or number 10 or attacking midfield player.
You've got Real Madrid, who've got the best forward line in world football, It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they're still only drawing with Real Mallorca. Joao Felix, or Felix, as we now know. Andy was very annoyed that this was on the cards, and I was lucky enough to break the news to him last night when I think it was more or less made official that he was coming. I mean, maybe you can tell us otherwise. And I know he had a couple of decent games for Chelsea along the way, but he didn't set the world alight when he went there previously. And Andy's feeling is he doesn't think he suits English football. What do you make of this move?
Well, it's been a disaster all round for everybody, the fact that he went to Atletico Madrid. And it was a strange choice at the time. they'd just sold Griezmann. They'd made a fortune on that. So and Rodri had gone to Manchester City, so they had money to burn. And Joao Felix was the superstar that was available after scoring 30 goals for Benfica. He was still a teenager at the time. No one raised their eyebrows and thought, this is a terrible signing. But immediately he started to have reservations about the fact that he was playing for Simeone and he wasn't getting a regular start. And it never really got any momentum. He can play, he's very skillful. You watch all these highlight clips, there'll be plenty of nutmegs and Cruyff turns and back heels and all that stuff. But he has to have some substance to his game now. And he has to play for a manager that believes in him. And hopefully, for his sake, Maresca will do that. I mean, it's going to be hard to see where he fits in, how he's going to get a game with all the players that there are at Chelsea. The last thing he needs is just to have been moved on, because Atletico have been desperate to move him on, and someone to take him as part of another deal. That Chelsea have really got to want him. Maresca really has to want him. And if he plays on a regular basis, it's still relatively young. The talent, it could open up, but it's a big fight back for Joao Felix, because he's never really made the breakthrough anywhere, to be honest.
Do you sense he really wants him, Terry? We won't know. We'll know in the first press conference whether he's absolutely delighted to have him. But you do sense at the moment that they're buying in players and saying, go on, you get on and coach them.
Yep, and it's fitted the narrative to Conor Gallagher to now look likely to go to Madrid. So it suited everybody. Does it suit Maresca? Does it suit Joao Felix? That's the big issue. Does it suit Conor Gallagher with Simeone? We'll see there as well. So it's just it's a comfortable move that suits a lot of people. Does it suit the players, the managers, and the football side of it? We shall see.
If you like your Spanish football chat, Terry does a podcast with their old mate John Driscoll. Just remind us what it's called, Terry.
Yep, it's La Liga Weekly with Eltel and John Driscoll. Done our first weekly roundup this morning. Looking at Atletico Madrid, Simeone taking off his £30 million signing at half-time last night. When he just scored just before half-time.
Amazing.
Then he wasn't involved in the game enough. Wasn't participating enough.
Really?
Never change, Diego. Never change.
Yeah. Exactly. And, of course, Barcelona getting the win with the 3 17-year-olds playing and Real Madrid not being able to beat Mallorca.
Yeah.
So plenty to talk about.
Excellent. Cheers, Terry. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Terry.
Paul, Charlie, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Terry Gibson there, the Liga football expert, and we'll keep an eye on it. I'm sure City fans would love to have Gundogan back. He was such a good player for them, wasn't he?
Yeah,
so
very good. I was surprised he left, but
Well, he wanted it. It was his dream move. He'd always wanted to go to Barcelona, but the dream turned into a nightmare. Well, not a nightmare. I mean, it's relatively speaking when you're on about 400 grand a week
living in
Barcelona,
Barcelona,
one of the world's great cities,
playing football for a living.
Absolute nightmare.
A relative nightmare.
Yeah. But I'm sure he'll be welcome back, and we'll do a fine job for them. Make a good team even better. Great. Rupert Bell's going to join us shortly, and we're going to get what is the vibe of York that gets underway tomorrow, the Ebor Festival. Should you eat pizza with a knife and fork? His son Ollie from the racing fraternity says not. And what does horse milk taste like? I know it's £6.50 a bottle apparently.
Sure.
So
I had 1,000 things I was going to say then. And I pulled out all of them.
Well done, Charlie. So Rupert joins us. Don't forget, 4 o'clock, it's Adi Oladipo and Darren Bent, and they will be joined intermittently by Andy Goldstein, live from Atlantic City, where he was playing in the US Open Pool Championship.
He's not going to be mic'd up, is he? He's playing, he's serious playing.
Ollie Klink's going to keep you updated with how he's doing, and you'll hear from him after the game. In case you missed it, he has been drawn against one of the greatest players of all time in the world of pool. So it's a big ask, but he'll give it a go. That's all to come.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.